Hi, I'm Donna Ray.
And I'm Al Wadley.
Welcome to our podcast, Feldenkrais for Life.
In each episode, we will discuss ideas and experiences pertaining to the Feldenkrais Method.
You're going to learn skills that will move pain to comfort, anxiety to ease, and we'll explore learning and how to spark creativity.
To learn more about Donna, visit her site at donnaray.com.
To find Al Wadley, go to achievingexcellence.com.
Hey, Donna.
Hi, Al. Good to see you this morning.
Good to see you too. How are you?
I'm good. I think we have an interesting topic for today.
We do. We're going to talk about habits. We're going to talk about habits from two different perspectives. So recently I listened to an interview with a man by the name of James Clear. He's the author of Atomic Habits, which you've probably heard of that book. Sold millions of copies.
I'm familiar.
And I'll confess straight up front, I haven't read the book. This is the first time I've heard James speak. I thought he spoke very well. He's very articulate, very smart guy. And he talked about the idea of how you create habits and modify habits. And so we want to talk about James' approach and then compare that to how we look at habits, think about habits, work with habits, and the Feldenkrais Method. So there are different approaches to working with habits. So just to give a kind of a snapshot of James' approach, I would describe it as more of a top-down approach. That is, using consciously, intentionally deciding to create a habit or to modify a habit for yourself. So maybe you want to exercise more, or you want to add new food, more healthier foods into your diet, or you want to go out and walk 10 minutes a day. So that's kind of a conscious decision to change a habit, to integrate that into your life flow. And so he talks about 4 core rules, and he describes them as, so making the habit obvious, the thing you want to change, make it obvious. I'll say going for a 10-minute walk every day. And it's got to be fun. So you make it fun, so it's attractive, so it's something you want to do. That it's easy to do. So it's low friction. It's just not much effort to get it going. And then the last thing is make it satisfying and pleasurable. So those things are not unfamiliar, are they? They're elements that we include in habits when we think about habits in the Feldenkrais Method and learning. So what do you think about that? And how does that compare to like what we do with Feldenkrais lessons?
Oh, well, thank you for summarizing his methodology. And yes, those 4 tenets we also abide by. We look for pleasure, for fun, satisfaction. And the other thing that you mentioned is that his approach is more top-down. And so what we mean by that is that it's clear to your mind, to yourself, what your goal is. Like you said, going to the gym or changing your diet, going for a walk every day. So those are very tangible goals. You can see them and you can attain them, and you'll know whether or not you achieve them simply by jotting it down on a calendar and tracking your own behavior. That method is tried and true. It works. So the Feldenkrais method is unique in that we're working, you could say, possibly with the subconscious mind or self-awareness in a way that's not so easy to put your finger on. So something like looking to the right. So if you simply turn to look to the right, you tend to do it in the same way over and over. Your eyes are actually somewhere in your eye sockets habitually, which I think is quite fascinating. So if you look to the right, you can even do an experiment and say, okay, look to the right and think about what part of the ear you could see. So if you look to the right, do you imagine seeing the top of your ear, the middle of your earlobe? So it's different for everybody, but it will be habitual unless you do something to change that movement pattern. And so that's how we introduce change to habit. So we create movements and variations and differentiated movement that will alter how your eyes are resting in their eye sockets and how you turn to look to the right. So that's an incredibly refined way to look at habits. And then we like to look at how does that change relate to life. So it can be very subtle or it can be extremely dramatic and obvious. So if you look to the right in various ways, like we were doing, you can do something even now. So imagine as you look to the right that you just pay attention to your right eye moving. Just your right eye looking to the right and back to the middle. You can have your eyes open or closed, it doesn't matter. Just your right eye looking to the right and noticing what you see, or if you're thinking of your ear, what part of your ear you can see. You can even close your left eye, but it's not even necessary because if you think of your right eye only, you're going to sense and feel your right eye moving. Notice your breathing. Okay, now come back to the middle and once look to the right and now look to the left and notice the difference in how you turn, how you see to one side or the other. So, what are you noticing, Al?
Well, turning to the right is much easier now. I can turn further, it's smoother, it's lighter. When I turn to the left, it's a little thicker. It's more like stirring peanut butter. And turning to the right is more like stirring water. So, a little contrast there of the ease with which I can turn to each side.
So there's a very different sensory motor experience and sensory. You're feeling sensations that you weren't before, and you've gained functionality. You can look to the right easier. And now, if you were to hold your hands out to your sides, you would probably notice that your right peripheral vision is much easier to access than the left.
For me, I say they're about the same.
They're about the same. Yeah, I feel a difference. I was doing the movements and I feel like, oh, I can look to the right so much easier. To the left, I can see, but I can't orient to the left the same way.
Difference I feel is my right eye feels much, much larger.
Okay. Yeah.
And the right side of my face feels more activated, and I'm more aware of my right ear.
Okay. So you feel the awareness of that whole right side, eye, ear, face, and the access to the right side of you. Now, if the desire in a situation with somebody, ourselves, another person, was to increase balance. By doing these movements, you're also going to shift your weight more onto your right leg. So you can enhance your balance by playing with these movement variations of the eyes. And then, of course, we would go to the left and then we would integrate right and left and shifting weight right and left, which is the beginning of taking a step. You have to first shift your weight to step forward. So you can see with this little example, which is actually kind of monumental to me, that we're working with habits in a very different way from a sensory motor learning perspective. So that's one of the ways that I contrast our work and his work.
Yeah, that's very well said. And it's challenging, difficult to make those kinds of bottom-up changes, the kinds of changes you're describing, which are really at the nervous system level, changing the way your brain, your motor cortex is organizing your movement and how it's expressed through your movement and improving your balance and coordination. It's much more difficult to do that through a top-down approach, which doesn't really work that well. It's great for kind of larger, conscious-oriented, projects that you want to develop a habit around. When it comes down to the nuances of how you organize yourself moving through space, your posture, how you orient, how you're breathing, all these things that are largely outside of conscious awareness, not so effective. They both have their domains of appropriateness. I've developed a lot of, conscious habits as the way I eat and the way I organize my supplements, the time I get out of bed and the time I allot every day to doing a Feldenkrais lesson. That all came from top-down intention to organize my life to have those habits flow throughout my day. And yet it's very different from the Feldenkrais method, which also helps and informs those habits to be easier and more functional.
Definitely. So if we use James Clear's approach to get ourselves to do the Feldenkrais lesson, that is very useful. So I love the way he suggests to make it easy, make it accessible. He said one person that he was working with would sleep in their gym clothes, so in the morning they didn't have to get dressed. Or, you wanna make sure you've got your shoes out, your socks. If you're not sleeping in your gym clothes, you have them right next to the door so you can get out the door.
Yep.
And you train yourself to make these things simple and easy, and you stop asking the question, "Do I want to?" Have to eliminate, "Do I wanna go to the gym?" or "Do I wanna lay down and do a Feldenkrais lesson?" It has to be built in. This is what I do when I wake up in the morning, for example, or at whatever time of day. This is what I do before I go to bed, or maybe it's your afternoon rest, lying on the floor and doing a Feldenkrais lesson. But the more routine it is, and the easier you make it in terms of accessibility, the more likely it is that you'll actually follow through.
Yeah, he emphasizes the getting started phase being very important. Another anecdote he shared was some gentleman who got up early and he went to the gym every day. Then he went home. He didn't go in the gym. He just drove to it.
I love
Did that for like 6 weeks or something like that. And James was like, "Well, that's really cool because he built the habit. He built the habit of going to the gym. And then once he did that, it was easy, and it was easy to just go into the gym and start doing his thing."
it. Also increased the desire. So he wanted to work out. Like, after getting ready and going and not working out for, numerous times, then he's like, "I really wanna work out." He went to the effort of getting dressed and getting there. So then he began to work out. And then for some people, short increments is really useful because sometimes people say, "Oh, I'm gonna start working out," and they really overdo it. And then they get sore, they injure themselves, and then they have to take a break and recuperate. So if you do this kind of thing, set it up so that you're going for a walk, a run, to the gym, to the pool, whatever it is you wanna do for activity, because we all need it. That's a definite. Everybody needs to be doing something. So if you set it up and then you do these short increments and discipline yourself for short, and then increase, 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 you're going to be hungry for the increase. Your physical adaptation is going to go very smoothly.
Yeah, it's that idea, that concept of chunking it down
Yeah.
into small, achievable pieces. And if the first thing is just getting your gym bag ready or laying out your Feldenkrais mat the night before to make it easy, that's what you do. Or you decide which lesson you're going to do at night or
Yes.
set it up in the morning. So reduce as much friction as possible. Do it in small chunks, so each chunk is achievable. So that laying out of the mat, nice one small chunk, that feels good. Selecting the lesson, having that ready, that's good. That sets an anticipation for you.
Hmm.
When you step in the morning into your room and you're ready to do the lesson, all that friction is removed, and it's so much easier to lay on the floor and just start doing it.
Yeah. And, one of the big obstacles that I hear from students of the Feldenkrais method is, "I don't know what lesson to do." And so I say have recordings, or if you're a practitioner and you want to read a lesson and do the lesson, select it, like you said, in advance, or just have it at your fingertips and push the button. Don't put too much thought into what do I want to do, because every lesson is going to make you feel good and you're going to be better organized. And so just choose the lesson. And then you're going to be surprised with how good you feel.
That's right, and that's the reward. That's the
Ye
reward. You
Yes.
feel good, you're breathing better, you're standing more upright, your outlook on the world is brighter, it's better.
Yeah.
If you're doing it before bed, your nervous system is calmed down and you're ready for sleep,
Yeah.
rest.
Yeah. Yeah, so, habits are a really big topic in our society, aren't they? Because people want to improve themselves, and a lot of people struggle to improve themselves, so we wanna remove the struggle.
Yeah, and I think Feldenkrais lessons help with that, help remove that resistance, the struggle, what Dr. Feldenkrais called cross-motivation, where maybe there's some element of resistance to doing something because there's another motivation, which is, I don't know, whatever it is. I don't have time, or I've got to take care of the kids or whatever. So figuring out how to let go of that and reduce the cross-motivation so it becomes just a singular motivation to do this one thing, this one small thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we hope that our listeners, all of you out there, have your Feldenkrais lessons nearby somehow. You decide how you can set up your environment to support the decision to work with the Feldenkrais lessons on a regular basis, because there is a huge payoff to doing them regularly. They really add up. It's like you put the drop in the bucket, and someday that bucket will overflow, and you just keep doing them, and you will be delighted and surprised with how well you feel.
Yes, there's definitely an cumulative effect.
Mm-hmm.
Just keeps the improvement just keeps filling up. You get more and more improvement. It's phenomenal. So the older I get, the better I feel, because I do a lot of Feldenkrais lessons.
Yeah, me too. And if for some reason I take a break, or I fly, so there's a few days where I'm interrupted, as soon as I land, that's the first thing I do. I either lay down on the floor and start moving, or I schedule an individual Feldenkrais hands-on functional integration lesson. And, I adapt so much more quickly by doing that.
Yeah. Perfect.
Well, thanks for talking this morning. It was great fun.
It was a blast.
Well, good day, you guys, everybody out there.
Yeah, I will talk later, Donna. Bye.
Okay, bye.
If you'd like to follow up with a question, send an email to info@feldenkreisforlife.com. We would love to hear from you.
You can learn more about us on our websites.
You can find Al at achievingexcellence.com.
You can visit my site to join my classes and reach out to me for private lessons online or at my Longmont studio. You'll find my store, the Feldenkrais store, there as well. We can purchase books, audio products, and videos. Donna's website is donnaray.com.
And if you visit my website, you'll find that I'm offering individual sessions, group classes in the Feldenkrais Method, mentoring groups, professional Feldenkrais training program information, and recorded lessons.
Thank you again so much for joining us. We look forward to you hearing us next week.
Bye now.
Bye.